Welcome to Day 9 Daily 707 Part 3, where we're not ashamed to admit that gargling water is awesome. Not all the time, but if you haven't done it, you should totally do it. Watch this. Alright, I'm going to load up the game here. If you leave just a little bit in your throat, you can do the chewy thing. We've seen Maru do amazing things versus Protoss. Let's see what he's going to do versus Dongregu, the Zerg player. It's going to be very standard in terms of a build, but very beautiful in terms of the movement. Because, you know, let me share with you something that wounds my little heart. I've had this conversation before, and it goes something like this. Hey Sean, look at this replay. What did you think of my strat? I was trying to do an aggressive drop play while applying pressure to his front. What do you think went wrong? And I say, dear stranger who approached me in a supermarket, you're missing depots, you're not building SCVs. I really think that if you did those and caught up to your macro and spent your money, you'd have a lot more success. And you know what answer I receive? So often, with near 100% probability? Well, yeah. The missed SCVs and depots and macro is part of the strategy. That's the, you know, and I don't understand this compartmentalization where it's like, well, those are the wrong things that I'm not willing to discuss right now. I'm only willing to discuss the strategy. If your SCV production is not constant, work on the SCV production. Boom! You have the clearest, cleanest, most absolutely objective issue that you can measure your results in. Yeah! Missing supply depots, that's fantastic news because you know an exact thing that you can do to guaranteed improve. I queue up too much when I macro. Well, guess what? If you don't queue up and you build things right when the last thing's finished and you practice that a lot, you will guarantee to have more units. How wonderful. How fantastic that is the news. And once all those little bumps are smoothed out, and once all those orbs get back in orbit, nothing pleases me so much as to talk about the little troop movements we're going to see from Maru. But until that point, work on the little stuff. Work on the stuff that has clear and clean measurable results. Oh, so good. Where is my pen? I cannot focus unless I have something being twiddled in my left hand. We're going to watch me look for it. Ah, found it. Perfect, I can think now. So first thing that Maru did that's a little bit cutesy, schmootsy, cool, 11 barracks, 11 refinery. A touch earlier, a tad sooner, but not by that much. What we've tended to see Terrans do is be a little bit more Banshee focused. Do things a little less by the norms established by innovation, who loved doing 2 Reaper, few Hellion, straight into mass biomine. We're seeing 1, 2, a command center, true, and a 3rd Reaper, ready to do a little bit of hurt bringing. A slightly earlier Reaper can occasionally allow you to pick off a drone on an unsuspecting Zerg. It will almost certainly give you the opportunity to pick off a Zergling, because Zerglings can't turn into structures. A few shots get fired, but the important thing for Maru is that he keeps him alive. This transition from Maru is normal. Getting a factory afterwards. Yes! Yes! Getting up a command center afterwards. Yes! Yes! Boom! Down she goes! The big emphasis again is movement. Maru darts in, applies pressure until the queens are out, and then is sitting largely at the front. Before the Reapers, before the Hellions ever come out, and before the speed is done, Maru is able to nearly kill off a queen. And is able to definitely delay the creep spread. Notice how there's but a single creep tumor. But a single. Maru can go. And what doth kind Sir Maru do? When he gets closer and closer to 6 minutes, he retreats all the way back home. Oh, yeah! Oh my god, yes! Have you ever heard someone complain about coin flipping as Terran? Have you? Every time I go for Reapers, they get speed Zerglings, and then my Reapers get surrounded. Anytime someone refers to coin flipping, it's another way of saying, I'm bad and it's not my fault. We see Maru combating the attitude of bad. Look at this. Applying pressure, shooting, harassing. And then, before Ling Speed ever gets a chance to finish, Maru heads home. Maru heads home to make sure these 3 Reapers aren't alone. Oh, yeah. Oh, so good. So fantastic. There's no chance these Reapers will ever get surrounded. There's no chance of a couple Lings sneaking back in. Maru waits until he has some Hellions to reinforce these Reapers. 6 minutes is typically when a third base will go down. But Maru's just gonna wait. Maru's gonna chill. No reason to move out and risk his units getting killed. Only once his wall off eventually is complete does he choose to move his units and do sexy micro feats. What we're going to look at here is this is the transition point where most people would go for a Banshee. I shouldn't say most. We have seen a return of Banshees as a little bit more frequent. But Maru's going for the innovation style, the style established right at the outset of Heart of the Swarm. Going very, very quickly for Stim Pack. Going very, very quickly for 6 Hellions. And these numbers are exact. Just rallied back, defensive, no bunker necessary, just getting some extra ones. And this troop can now deal with small amounts of Zerglings with Zergling speed. Not a problem. 2 engineering bays down at 7 minutes. Only 1 gas geyser.
Upgrade complete.
Trying to prevent creep spread, harassing here a little bit. SCV is getting built 3 at a time. Only once he is applying pressure here does he elect to send these guys down. Beautifully done. As he moves out, 1 refinery, 2 refinery. Gets an additional pair of barracks. Beautiful. And it's interesting because traditionally we say, oh yeah, you know, you just get some Hellions and some Reapers and, you know, you contain them. And that's about all the detail you hear. And sometimes you harass and you kill probes and, you know, you make a judgment. But we see Maru's is extremely regimented. Once speed is becoming a potential threat, go home. And once we get 2 Hellions, then we can move out again. But we're worried about defense at home, so let's wait until we have 4 Hellions. Hey, once I have an eye on where his units are, because I'm harassing with the 3 Reapers and the 2 Hellions, I can bring in the 4 Hellions to the fight. And then I can deal the real damage. I can bring the pain. The Reapers are the ones who should be absorbing most of the damage as they can heal up, up, up. 3 queens here, soon to be. Maybe a dead queen here. Once this factory is done building the reactor, it times itself. We can get a starport and a reactor there for the starport. Maru, once he sees there's really no more pressure to be applied here, it seems like the queens have successfully locked me out of dealing damage. I'm just going to go to the Zelnaga watchtowers, and everything's going to be good in the hood. Little tiny twist that Maru does. He gets barracks 4 and 5, that's common, but he also gets a barracks 6, which is a little bit less typical. Normally it goes barracks 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8. As Maru gets control of those watchtowers, in other words, once Maru has stopped pressuring, that's when this expand moves over. Once Maru has stopped applying direct pressure, these become defensive units. Once it lands, these become passive units. They chill back home, all alone, to make sure nothing hurts the third. A little move out like this. Is it an aggressive move? No, it's a defensive move. Sweeping for lings and other such things. We'll move out, and then you know what? It's just gonna go back. Now, typically, 10:30 is when we see the potential for another push. 1-1 is often done at this time. Stim is almost certainly done, and Combat Shield is not far behind, and the medevacs are out. So what we normally see is something like a 1-1 push with those Hellions and Reapers joining it all together. Look at what Maru does. You know what Maru doesn't have here? A barracks. You know what Jesus. You know what Maru doesn't have here? A bunker. You know what Maru has not had here for a while? A bunker. Maru is actually operating at a swifter pace than most people are used to seeing. But that's hard to tell just by watching this. You go, yeah, I get it. I totally understand. Where did the money from that 6 barracks come from? Cutting this bunker, cutting this bunker. The Hellions and the Reapers chill at home. This is no longer a direct pressure squad. This is more of a little cutesy, do a little damage, and I'm going to get up in my medevac, and I'm going to run away. Mines finally begin to get built after we have 6 full barracks running, and my god, that barracks 7 and 8 are coming out mighty quick. You know what's very traditional for a Zerg player who's been under a lot of pressure? You've heard me say this in many shows. Around 12 minutes is the Mutalisk time, and around 12 minutes is the 4th base time. Maru is just looking to deny a 4th, and he is immune to counterattacks. Successfully killed off a 4th. Here is a counterattack from Dongray Gu that could potentially be threatening. But all the juicy units are still there. All the medevac marine dudes pull on back. And once this is a completely walled off, bunkered up dude, then the forces join together to do the battle forever. Scans and Stems and Hellions too, and Widow Mines do their dance for you. Doopy-doo. There was the Zergling counterattack. You can envision this going very well for Dongray Gu if this wall-off is not here. You can envision this counterattack going well if Maru wasn't as tenacious about setting up that early Hellion Reaper defense there. Then we have a pretty typical attack. Striking at kind of a weird time. This is normally what I think someone, or certainly commentators like me, will call this kind of a weird timing. Look at this, as 2-2 isn't done. Why is he striking a little bit late? Seems really weird. It's a combo of two things. One, we haven't really seen Mutalisks yet, so let's try to hit him right around when he's getting Mutalisks so he won't harass us. And two, we just denied a fourth base. Let's go deny a fourth base again. Can you hear this? The roommates, I guess, playing Will It Blend. So here's, we're going to see something tough to do. All the splits. It's Lings and Banelings. I know you know Lings and Banelings, but Maru wants to make sure that DRG, do you know that you know that you know Lings and Banelings? And there's the Mutalisks.
Ready for dust off.
There's the Mullas. And this, even though it might look like a failure, is actually a fairly successful attack because of the position of these units relative to the position of the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are drawn back. And Maru has a forward watchtower. This follow-up timing is purely upgrade-based. I'm going to attack because I have 2-2. Continues to scout this rightward flank, looking so good. It's nice because these rallies tap the watchtower, and this base is protected from counterattacks on this side. Technically, Zerg could kill this, but when would Zerg have had time to kill that?
Complete.
Maru is no fool. His big attacks are super cool. He's got 2-2 in his back pocket. Yet again, looks like a seemingly bad engagement from Maru, but a couple neat things that's going on. Remember those barracks 7 and 8? They're Tech Lab barracks producing only Marauders. Again, typically we see a player who will get reactors here, de-emphasize the Marauder production, and instead get another factory. Spend that little bit of excess gas on getting yet more mines and getting the upgrade for the mines. But Maru is not doing that. He's trying to be a little bit more Marauder focused in order to combat the increase of Banelings, and or I should say the lack of effectiveness of the Widow Mines. Just little neat maneuvers over here. Not really going to be of too much focus right now. Maru gets his 3-3. When things are really not working so well on the battlefronts, he's just rebuilding turrets to account for these sort of concerns. Refinery on this side, this is the defended side, this is the exposed side that can be harassed by Mutalisks, so he's just saying, well, I don't really need the gas, so you just... I just won't take it. A little bit more cautious play. And here's what I really love about what we start seeing from Maru. In the days when Widow Mines were super good at killing everything, Terrans like Polt would just endlessly push, endlessly push. We see Maru doing a weird combo play. He moves forward with enough units to load into 2 medevacs so that he can retreat comfortably, just picking off things that are nearby his rally point, such as all these creep tumors. This is buying him time to do an actual 2-pronged attack. Now, this 2-pronged attack is not going to be effective unless he perceives his enemy as having lost a good chunk of Banelings and having to spend a little bit of time rebuilding, having to spend some time being passive. And now we see Maru. Oh yeah, the reasoning for that is that if you are trying to do a big, fancy, sexy split, and your opponent almost certainly has a huge amount of Lings and Banelings, I mean, frankly, 70 Zerglings and 18 Banelings is not huge. 19 Mutalisks is not huge. So Maru is more or less, especially relative to Maru's army, Maru is more or less confident in this spot that these sorts of drops will reposition a lot of Dongregu's stuff. And just does this really cool drop over here to distract the Mutalisks. Sets up this push over here. Oh, Baneling count not too high. And then just does a nice little drop on the bottom right. This step forward only possible because of the drop at the left, distracting the Mutalisks and allowing everything to get into good position. And of course, this getting good position allowed this drop to happen, to kill off this expansion. And then Maru just goes absolutely freaking hog wild, hitting multiple bases, which I find to be rather cool. This is not exactly Maru going, oh god, I have to hit everything as much as possible. He's saying, dude, I really want to make sure that Dongregu doesn't just kill here and then kill here. I gotta have one alternate location dealing damage. And back to Team Rally. This drop is gonna distract the Mutalisks a little bit, make sure they don't move forward.